Hey, my name is Lizzie Smiley, and I absolutely love helping people connect with their calling and all the tools they need to kick roadblocks and excuses right out the door so they can cultivate the life they dream about. If you want to launch, grow, pivot, or scale your Etsy shop, or you've always wanted to develop the mindset and skills to run your own business, then I'm your girl. I've had that entrepreneurial spirit going strong since my very first lemonade stand, and now I'm a work-at-home mama with multiple online companies and a full-time Etsy shop, all while being present with my kids for the everyday chaos and most important milestones. On this podcast, we'll talk about all things business, mindset, Etsy, creativity, dazzling our customers, and so much more. There's plenty of room at this table for you, so scooch on in and let's go. I'm holding nothing back. Welcome to How to Sell Your Stuff on Etsy. I'm so glad you're here. Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast this week. I hope summer is off to a great start. I hope it is not as hot wherever you are as it is here in South Texas. We are leaving in 2 days to go to Wisconsin, and I cannot wait. The older I get, the harder the heat is. But I hope Etsy is going well. I know it's a slower time of year for a lot of us, but I think it's a time where we can learn a lot and we can continue to grow our shops and fire things up. For me, it's always a time of reflection when it's a bit slower, and I can update my listings and sharpen my skills and find new things to create. So I hope you're finding energy in all of that. If you're needing help with any of that, please remember that currently my Etsy course, which is mostly for handmade sellers, still beneficial to others because it covers so much on research and SEO and legal and all of that. There's a lot in there, but I made it specifically for handmade sellers. It is currently 40% off. So if you use the code SAVE40, it'll be linked in the show notes through the end of June. So we're coming up on the end of that. That is available for you. I'm also working on an FAQ episode that's probably coming up next week. So if you want to put in a question, an Etsy or e-commerce question, put that down. The link is down in the show notes, and you can just, it's like one survey question, maybe two, very, very short, and you can put your questions in there. That is great. But before I talk about our guest today, I think you're going to like this conversation. It was a really good one for everyone, not even just digital product sellers. But I've been thinking about you guys because Robbie and I have been working on prototypes for a new physical product that I'm going to be selling if we can get it right. And I was thinking about you because the beginning is hard. And actually, I was just talking to Nicole, the guest, about this. And she's like, yeah, but you already know how to do so much. And I said, okay, yes. And it's still hard. So yeah, once I have this thing ready to put on Etsy, I'm confident I can put it up and get sales. But starting anything new is hard. And I can't tell you how much Robbie and I just keep failing. We're like making these prototypes and they're not good enough. And you spend money, in our case, like hundreds of dollars. And a lot of it's going into testing. And so I just wanted you to know that if you're feeling that right now, if it's feeling overwhelming, if it's not working the way you wanted, if it's a slow, slog through the process right now, that you're not alone. It even happens to me. This will be like my 6th Etsy shop or something like that, at least. And starting anything new is hard. And it doesn't look good or go right at first. And it takes a bit. But as entrepreneurs, we push through, we keep going, we keep growing. And eventually we break through. There's this quote: even an old blind squirrel will find a nut every now and again if he doesn't give up. I don't know why that's always tickled me. It's goofy, but keep going. Don't give up. But literally the moniker of the entrepreneur is you just don't give up. You keep pressing until you hit it. So that's encouragement for you. Hopefully that makes you feel a little better knowing that even your girl really, really stinks at something right now. Happens to me all the time. When I'm trying something new. I need to do an episode about this down the road. I did a little business project several months ago before the move. And I actually spent a couple $1,000s and lost it all. Like it didn't work. So it's pretty low barrier to entry for the most part. It's not so bad. But let me tell you about our guest today. So this was a super lovely conversation that was part her sharing her story and some really great tips that would help any Etsy shop. She even taught me something. And then I did a little coaching in there to help her with some things she was like wondering how to tackle. We kind of did some idea generation. Really, really fun episode. Nicole was someone who applied to be on the podcast. She's a listener like you, just been around for a long time. And you can, there are certain credentials you've got to have, but you can apply to be a podcast guest. That link is always in the description as well. And you can go kind of take a look at, you've got to have at least 100 sales. You've got to have like what you think you'd like to share, why you think you'd be a good guest, that kind of thing. So Nicole, she lives in West Michigan with her husband, who is her high school sweetheart, and her 2 kids. She went to college for math and accounting and worked in accounting for a couple of years after college, but decided to stay home full time with her kids after her second child and started homeschooling in 2019, which is kind of the genesis for her Etsy shop. In the beginning of their marriage, they always had this goal to be debt-free and financially independent in their 30s. Now the goal is by 40. And she thinks that's part of their personality, but also going to college during the recession and working for a company that went bankrupt really shaped their financial goals. They paid off their first house within a couple of years of marriage. That's amazing. But then the American creep set in and we bought 2 more houses. So the goalposts have been moved back a bit. But we still hope to achieve our goal by the time we turn 40. So they're like, they have like extra homes that create income for them, just so you guys know. With that goal, my job recently hasn't been to make any money. It's always been to save money. And I've done that with thrifting, raising food, fixing things ourselves, burning wood for heat, making our own food, etc. And I was quite content with how things were going. But something changed in January 2022. She wanted to make money, but she wasn't sure where that desire came from. She just felt that it was there. And she'd randomly picked up the book, Everyone Should Be a Millionaire, from the library. And even though she doesn't agree with the title, the author had some practical exercises to find an avenue to make money. So Nicole started brainstorming what skills she had and then different ways that she could make money using those skills. And the conclusion was that she could sell the homeschool material she was using for her kids on Etsy. She met with a good friend at the beginning of March of 2022 who told her everything she knew about Etsy and shared her listing templates with her. And that other girl had been selling for a year at that point and was doing well, but now she has 22,000 sales. And that was a huge help. So yeah, that's amazing right there if you have a friend who can help you there. And Nicole officially started her shop March 17th of 2022 and had her first sale on March 24th, which was awesome. Since starting the shop, she has bought a rental house on a lake in 2023 and have been renting that out on Airbnb. And they've raised animals, had a CSA. I don't actually know what that is. Someone text me. Someone DM me. What's a CSA? Had a CSA, started visiting national parks and camping more, and we've continued to homeschool. So fun. She's lovely. They are such cool people. And I think you guys are going to really like this one. What a fun conversation. So please help me welcome Nicole to the podcast. Yay! Hey, Nicole, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Lizzie. Glad to be here.
Well, thank you for using the handy dandy application to come on as a guest. I love sharing stories like yours. And you've been kind of like a longtime listener, like we're kind of old friends now, huh?
Yeah, 2022, which has been fun. I've learned a lot.
Did you start listening before you started your Etsy shop, or were you already kind of in the trenches?
No, I started and then realized I didn't know what I was doing. And so I needed help. So looked for podcasts.
That's exactly how it goes most of the time, isn't it? Well, you have to tell us like your background and your story. Like who are you? Where are you? What did you do before Etsy? All of that.
Yeah. So I love math. And so I majored in math and accounting, went to school. I've always lived local in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I got an accounting job after college, did that for a couple of years. The company went bankrupt. And then, I think that formed my husband and I's like financial trajectory because it was during the recession. Then the company went bankrupt. And so I got another job. We got married. I had a baby. I worked part-time after that. And then I had my son. And then I decided to stay home full-time after that. That's like the gist of it. I haven't really used my major since then. I mean, I do our accounting for this and for other stuff, but not really. And then we started homeschooling in 2019.
Okay. Wow. Before the pandemic.
Yeah, it worked out well. So I was like well prepared for when everyone else was at home. It didn't feel like a big change for us, which was nice. And then 2022 was when I decided I wanted to make money. And I don't know where that came from because I was perfectly content being home. Just my husband was working, has a good job. But I read a book called Everyone Should Be a Millionaire. And I don't know why I picked it up from the library. I don't even agree with the premise necessarily, but she had a lot of practical things like ideas for how to make money and like brainstorming activities. So I brainstormed what I could do to make money. And I think I landed on homeschooling. because when I homeschool, I'm very frugal, so I would create a lot of the things myself.
No way.
I was
Cool.
like,
Okay.
I'm really making these. Why not sell them? And my friend had been on Etsy for almost a year at that point, and her shop was starting to take off. She does really well. She's got like 22,000 sales, and she's doing fantastic. But she went to lunch with me and kind of just shared everything she knew. She'd met with a coach the fall before. She shared all her templates with me, like gave me a really big head start.
Oh,
and so,
what a good friend.
Yeah. And so then March of 2022, I had my first listing, and it took me a week to get my first sale. So I think March.
Just a week? Oh my gosh.
It was $4. It was thrilling. So March, I had my first sale. And then the next day I had another sale, and then not much else. I think in April I had $66. In May, I went down to 25. I took listings down because I found an error in one of mine and I felt horrible. Like, it was nothing big, but when you're selling something and someone paid their money for it, I'm like mortified that it wasn't perfect. But then in June, it jumped up to 248. And so I think in May is when I really decided to like invest more time in it and make it something that would benefit our family. So yeah, that's how Etsy started. And since then, I think in 2023, I didn't do as much. We bought like an Airbnb rental house with the same friend that taught me Etsy. So that took up a ton of my time. But that was one thing I liked about Etsy, is that if I didn't want to work on it, I didn't have to.
Yes.
And it still, at least for digital products, it still sustained. It did a little bit better than my first year, not a ton, but I wasn't putting in much effort. So that was nice to just have an income when you're not doing anything. And then this year, I decided I was going to invest more time. My average before was like 2 to 4 hours a week, 2 being the usual. And so this, probably in February, I started working every morning for like an hour, hour and a half. And I've been working pretty diligently to get more listings up. So yeah, my goal this year would be to have like 20,000 in revenue. And it's been like 5,000 to 6,000 the last 2 years. So that would be a big increase for me. But I think it's possible, just tracking. I've been doing better each month compared to last year. So we'll see how it comes out.
I can't remember. Are you selling any bundles?
Yeah, I have like seasonal things like fall, summer, or fall, winter, spring, and then I bundle them for a year thing.
That's smart. Okay.
I have a couple unit studies, and then I bundle those together. But bundles, yeah. Ideally, like that's how I plan now, because then I can have a higher price item.
Yes.
And they save money on it too. So that feels like a win-win for both of us. Yeah.
I wonder, I need to think it through, but I wonder if like a full shop access could be really good for you too, because you could make a lot per sale.
Yeah, that's what I've been talking to my friend about doing. And I don't know how to do it. Like, do you
Wait, what do you mean?
A Google Drive with all the
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
You know, yes, come on. You are a numbers person. You got this.
Yeah.
Just use a Google Drive, because if you use anything else, people aren't familiar enough with it. Okay. So you just do a shared folder, and then what you do is you can do it one of two ways. You can set up the files or the folder so that I like it to be immediate access. Okay. So what I do is I make it like a link. Anyone with the link can access it. You do run the risk though that if it gets shared on the internet, but then you can go, if that were to happen, you can go change the link, but then everyone's going to be emailing you for, my link isn't working anymore. But you'd be surprised. Most people are never going to actually go back to it. Maybe with yours, because it's curriculum. So they are going to maybe go back to it. So you have to kind of be ready for that. But like, you could have a template ready. Like if people, you know what I mean? You could like make yourself a little template response, and it wouldn't be that big of a deal. So if you needed to protect that way, the other way is people have to submit their email address, and then you add them so that they can then be removed, or anyone can't just have access to it, only people with the app. But you're also adding customer service there too, because when I did that for my micro niche list, so many people like didn't have a Gmail address or like had trouble accessing. So it kind of just depends. That's why I usually just go with the link, but your product is really more valuable than anything I've sold. So I don't know. But Google Drive for sure.
is like pricing it. I'm not sure how to price it is the other thing.
So what is the average cost for something in your shop?
$10 would be the average.
And then how many listings do you have?
80.
Whoa. And then do people, would the same person benefit from all of them?
Probably 70% is like one yes. And then the other 30% I've started doing like preschool stuff, which is not, they wouldn't flow together.
I see. I would probably make it $40 or $50.
Okay. Yeah, that's on my list. That I don't struggle for ideas. I struggle for time and yes. But no,
I don't know. Chew on that though. Like I feel like that's a prey on it one, because there's pros and cons. In your case, it could also be better to have people coming back. But and we're going to talk about this later, your customer base is growing. So I don't feel like you're ever going to lack for customers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and you could put your stuff on Pinterest. You've got a lot of potential. I don't know. You could definitely hit your goal, I think, if you added full shop access. And P.S., you don't have to keep it forever. You keep the Google Drive and you stop selling it, and the people who had full shop access can keep getting it. And,
Yeah, that is a good idea.
So it's not like a permanent commitment.
Mm-hmm. I like that idea. No,
okay, well, that was a fun segue. Man, I'm so bad. Nicole, so bad. Okay, but that was fun.
Yeah.
How did you choose? Okay, so I love that do you use every single thing you create? Like you use it with your kids or not anymore?
Probably at least half of this stuff, yeah.
That is so brilliant. So because that's kind of my question is, how do you come up with what the next thing is you're going to create to sell?
So I've started branching out. So my niche is like a very specific branch of homeschooling. And so that stuff, it's been what I've needed. I've created it and then I sell it. And it's done fairly well. But then I made a preschool curriculum. That was when my shop kind of started taking off. I had gotten I think Everbee used to allow you to see all the stats for like 10 listings for free. I could be wrong, but I was like one of my last clicks and it was a preschool curriculum that I saw and it had like $1,000 in sales a month. And I was like, oh, maybe I need to make a preschool curriculum.
Love it.
More specific to how we homeschool. And that's probably half of my sales revenue is from that one listing. So I just get on Etsy and look, and I have to go in the incognito mode because it tries to force stuff on me. But just looking at what are best sellers, what 20 plus people have in their carts, that's a huge thing that I look at. My niche isn't that big, so I can kind of keep track of the people that are doing well and what they're selling. And a lot of people don't hide their sales listings, like when you click on the sales and it shows you what's sold recently. So I look on there a lot to see what items.
So, for people who know, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
If you go to, you don't click on you go to a shop's main page and on the left-hand side, there's like the shop logo and the name and the data there, like how many sales they have and where they are. Then on the other side of the page, there's the owner of the shop. There's their little profile picture and their name. And you're talking about if you click that, you click the owner's profile picture.
Yeah.
It'll take you then to their page where you can see like their favorites and things like that. But it'll also show, was that what you're talking about looking?
No, it'll be like they have 100 sales. You click on the 100 sales.
Okay.
It'll pull up their most recent sales. It'll pull up all their sales.
Okay. So it's a hyperlink where however number of sales they have in the shop.
Mine's hidden. Most people, not in the homeschooling niche, but I feel like most people hide theirs.
I've never even thought about that.
Yeah.
So thanks, Nicole.
It's been helpful because like if someone has 10 listings and you're like, oh, that's a great idea, but only one thing sells, then I know that the other ones aren't as valuable to make. Although I
just look at Everbee to see that stuff. So that's really nice because I often teach people who don't want to have the tools. You're actually doing brilliantly, Nicole. You're using the Etsy platform to find the data that you need. It was a lot more helpful when it told you how many competing listings there were.
Yeah.
In the browser, which it doesn't do anymore.
What used to do that?
Oh, it's only stopped like 2 or 3 months ago.
Okay.
And then for a while, I even did a YouTube video. There was a workaround because you could still see it on the app. And a few weeks ago, they updated the app too.
Oh, really?
Why they don't want us to see that blows my mind. But maybe it's to not overwhelm the shoppers because they're trying to kind of like tidy up the aisles. I don't know.
Yeah, I do want to get Everbee and try it. It feels a little overwhelming to like.
Really?
Well, I only have so much time, so like I don't
Yes.
want another 100 ideas of things to, or like FOMO of like, oh, I could be creating all this fun stuff. But it probably would be good to narrow down what would be most valuable to create instead of just creating things that maybe aren't.
I need to do a video series for Everbee. I don't want it to feel overwhelming for all of you, but I see what you're saying. It's not the actual platform. It's all of the ideas. And you're a more organized brain than mine. I just geek out at the squirreling all over the place.
Yeah.
No, but you're right. Okay. So I have so many questions, Nicole. How did you learn how to create these digital products? Because I feel like some people have a background in it or it comes naturally. And then some people try and it really doesn't work out very well. You know what I mean? Like the quality isn't necessarily there. So tell me, how did you figure that out?
First, I feel like the homeschool bar is a lot lower than like
really
the average.
Okay.
I was looking at other people's templates or designs in other markets, like real estate. I feel like you have to be pretty good on your design.
Yes.
With homeschool is a little more, I don't know.
All right, friend, this one is for my people who want to build and scale an Etsy shop for physical products. You may not know this about me because I've run and talked about all different types of shops since launching the podcast, but I actually got my start on Etsy in physical products, and to this day, I consider that my expertise. My very first Etsy business was a handmade shop for wood signs that my husband and I built, painted, boxed, and shipped, and we ran that puppy for 6 amazing years and made hundreds of thousands of dollars with that shop. I will never forget it. I'm so grateful. I know what it's like, and I know how to build a successful handmade business. It can be really hard in the beginning, especially because the physical part of the product creation takes up a lot of time and energy. And then you have to pair that with like having to develop the actual skills of getting people to buy them. It's a whole different mammoth of a ball game. So if that is you, you're planning a physical product shop, or you've got one that's not getting the results that you want, you need my flagship Etsy course. It's called Listings That Sell 2.0. And I will literally teach you everything I know, every secret up my sleeve, and the entire strategy that I used. And now hundreds of other students have used as well to get sales on Etsy. We're going to talk about how Etsy works and how to leverage the algorithm, how to find pockets of demand so that you don't list your products and just get crickets. I'm going to teach you everything about SEO, or search engine optimization, which is just a fancy way of saying I'm going to show you how to use the right words on your listings to make sure that they get seen by shoppers. We're going to talk about product photography tips, shipping, pricing, shop setup, legal and tax basics, and so much more. You're also going to get access to my private student Facebook group, which I am in every single day answering questions, and we support and celebrate each other all the time. So, bottom line, if you want to make this Etsy thing work for you, I have over 20 hours of training waiting for you so you can master the Etsy marketplace or fill in any gaps of knowledge that you need. Or if you are strapped for time, which is 100% where I'm at right now, and you just need the bottom line, I've provided a fast track roadmap so you can get through the most critical lessons in under 5 hours. If you are ready, let's do this together. I'm going to hold your hand. You can visit the link in the show notes to learn more, and I will see you on the inside. You're right. Education, because it also just like, the fact that it's for kids.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be like this elaborate design kind of thing. But Canva, Canva was all new to me. Watching YouTube has been immensely helpful.
Okay.
But I have my idea of what I want to make, and then I look at Canva's templates and find one that looks beautiful, and then I use that and put my information in. So I don't have to I'm not creating any design elements. I'm only creating the content and then using someone else's design that's put all the fonts together, all the elements, and that it makes it look a lot better than I could ever do. So
yes,
that's how I do that. Yeah, Canva is the only thing I've ever used. I'm trying to think.
And then you save it as a PDF. Is it like a packet usually, like a several page packet?
Yep.
Okay, you save it as a PDF and then you upload that to your Etsy listing. And then what kinds of things are you putting in your listing photos to help sell it?
So I do all 10 photos.
You do?
Yeah. So the last two, the one is clarifying this is a digital product. Nothing will be sent to you. And
Yes.
then one is our family photo and just like a brief description about us. Cause like, yeah, when you had your sign shop, you could put like a card in there. So just to relate to the people and let them know that we're
homeschool family.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
we're like you. Oh, that's so smart in that case. Cause that's vulnerable, right? Like,
yeah, I probably need to update that, but that sounds overwhelming because my kids are so little on there, but
I actually wouldn't.
okay.
For their internet safety and stuff like that, leave it to where,
Okay. Yeah. So those are the last 2 of the 8. And then the listing photos, just the general, what is it? And then I have what's included in the listing with all the details on the second page. Then depending on how big some items are smaller and it's hard to stretch it, but sometimes I'll do like the benefits of the product. So like studying art, like why would you study art, or handwriting? So then I'll do like the benefits of it just to like kind of promote the actual idea instead of my specific listing. So those are the main things that I do.
Do you watermark every page?
No, but I forget. I heard that recently. I was like, that might be good. But
well, as long as it's not something they can like, you know what I mean? Like save or screenshot it, and then they basically have your product. Yeah. It's not as big of a deal, but the more you can do that, the better.
Yes. Yeah. So I try to show, this is advice my friend gave me, just like show as much as possible so they're not surprised. Like, oh, I thought I was going to get X, Y, and Z, and really it's ABC. So just showing as much of the actual inside of the listing, which also could allow people to copy what I do. But if they want to put the time in, they can. But yeah.
Do you put it all in your description as well so people can read it? The same kind of information?
As far as like the details, yes, of what's included.
Tell us like about, what do I want to ask you next? Tell us about like the point at which it kind of started to take off. I think you sort of mentioned it was when you added a preschool item.
Yeah, that's when I started like getting sales it was June. So June, July, and August is by far my peak, kind of like how everyone's fourth quarter. August, my sales can be 10 times the off-season months. So that summer, I realized that it had the potential. I didn't realize that it would drop off significantly in the fall, but it did. So that's what I've been trying to do, is create listings that will sell in the off season for me, because summer's going to do well no matter what. But December, I've had to create listings specific to Christmas and December to keep sales up throughout the year. The preschool curriculum let me know that it was possible to make more than $20 a month. So then I was just like all in. I was like, okay, what else can I create? And that's when I started.
Your niche is not, do a lot of Christian families use your stuff?
I would say so.
Okay. It's not it's secular though, isn't it?
My niche is a Christian based. Yeah.
So, I mean, literally home church, like busy packets. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. My friend she runs our children's ministry, and I was like, you should, because she creates all her own curriculum for our children's church. I was like, you should sell these. They would do so good.
That would be so easy. Is she in digital as well?
She doesn't have a shop, but I told her she should.
Oh, the other one. Okay. Because I'm just like, maybe I need to interview your other friend too.
No, but she has a lot of good information. But
if she would want to. She's digital though, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think that would be cool, and people are so into it. Okay. So you added that's what it was. You added the preschool. It kind of started to take off. How big of a jump did you see? Like what happened? I
had done like $20 to $60 the first 3 months, and then it was $250. July was $640, and then August $1722. Yeah, it took off. But again, August is like
the month
peak.
So, I would have thought that going into the new year too, though. Like you're kind of, but yeah, curriculum.
I had the weirdest thing. I don't know why. Etsy started promoting my preschool curriculum this like January, February on Google. Like if you would Google preschool curriculum, it was in the top 5. And I was getting all these offsite sales for that, which was awesome. I don't know why it stopped, but I don't know if it'll start up again.
Like it was this year?
Yeah, this spring. Because I kept seeing all these charges for offsite ads specific for that. So I Googled it in incognito, and it popped up like right away. So I don't know if
And
they're just rotating what they promote or
maybe.
I don't know. how to
Interesting.
give it
Or someone else kind of eclipsed it. P.S. Guys, if this is, because some people are over there going like, what's this incognito thing she's mentioned? It's a private browsing window. So depending on what browser you use, if you're on Chrome, if you're on Internet Explorer, if you're on Mozilla, whatever, if you're on Safari, there's always an option to use an incognito or a private browsing window. They're called something different for each browser, but what it basically means is you're going into a different window that's not tracking any data. So whatever you're searching on the internet, it's searching like you've never searched anything before, because everything is AI algorithm led, and it's always trying to show you what it thinks you want to see based on what you've looked at before. So if you use private browsing or incognito, this is especially important for Etsy research, because otherwise it's just you're going to search your own shop in a normal browser. You'll be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm at the top of the feed." No, it's just doing that because you've looked at yourself before. So if you go to private browsing window, you can see where you actually appear in a totally fresh search. It's not perfect because every single person has the cookies and things saved that guide their search. So like they're going to see what they've looked at before, not necessarily the way you see it, but it helps you understand. Mm-hmm. So that's what she's talking about. And it's a really important tool to use. This is becoming such a good like beginner episode. I love this. But also like you teaching me that I need to click on the sale link is blowing my mind, Nicole. Oh, you said that Etsy ads didn't work for you though.
Okay. So I looked at my all-time statistics and they actually have overall, but I think in my off season I lose money. So I feel like they're not working right now. Like I've lost, what day is it? I only do $1. So I'm not even doing that much, but I would have like off season days where it didn't even use the whole $1. I'm not doing my whole shop. I'm doing specific items, but I do in the summer. I will increase the dollar amount, and they do work overall. I think it's like double what I spend, a little less than double is my overall like all-time statistics. But right now it feels like they're not working because I think last month I broke even. This month I'm losing. I mean, it only takes one good sale to like make up for it, but I never want to increase it. Maybe I should. I don't know. I go back and forth of like, if people just aren't searching right now because it's not the season for homeschool, does it matter if I have ads? So I'm not sure.
That's the lesson though, right? So that's why that's so helpful, is because it's like there's no reason for me to spend money promoting Christmas signs in February.
Yeah.
That's a silly place for me. So you've just figured out when your season is. Do you know where you're kind of showing up on the search results if you don't run ads?
It depends on the item. Like I have one item that consistently does well, and it's like the top. It's always at the top if I go searching. So I don't run ads on like that one. My preschool curriculum, I'm doing. So ads work really well around seasonal time. So like if I have a St. Patrick listing and I run ads for it, it does well. Christmas. So yeah, if they're lumped in by a specific reason for people to search, then they do well. But like right now, it's June. Things are starting to pick up, but not that much right now.
But that's the whole thing, right? So the more demand there is, the more ad spend is going to help you, because what happens is, and I actually recently changed my opinion about this. I used to say when I had my print on demand shop, if I was on the first page, I wasn't putting ad spend behind it because I'm just paying to be on the first page. But what I've realized, and this is in my own shopping experience, I just started kind of paying attention. When I see the same listing on the page, on like the first page of search results more than once, I'm more likely to click on it because I'm like, there's obviously something to this. Something's happening mentally. Or if I see it again, and I mean, that makes sense, right? The law of the marketing law, like if you see something you have to see something 7 times before you buy it.
Yeah.
Assuming you're not searching for it, this is just something promoted generally to us. So, I've sort of changed my opinion, and I think the things that are doing the best should have some ad spend on it if you want to, because there's gonna be this recognition. Oh, I think I've seen that somewhere before, and it almost like gives it credibility somehow or something.
That is,
I think. Okay, so that wasn't what I was expecting you to say. I was like really eager to hear what your experience was with ads. So it's totally about when is there demand and putting the ad spend.
Noticed, so my friend that has the shop, she lowered her ad spend because it wasn't. I mean, she spends a lot more than I do, but she wasn't using all of it. So she decided to lower it, and she said her sales plummeted.
Yep.
Okay. So that's what I like. If I ramp it up for the summer, then in the fall, is it going down because I lower it or because of demand? I don't know. It's
just test it. Here's the goal. Yeah. Here's the cool thing about it. When you play with ads, it's an on-off switch. It doesn't affect where you land in the algorithm generally. So it's one thing. You don't want to mess with your SEO if it's doing really well, because then you're affecting where you land in the search results. Okay. Ads are on and off. So when you test it, it's not that big of a deal, because it's either putting you on that first or second page or it's not. You know what I mean? Okay. I mean, I'm sure it's a little more technical than that. I'm sure there are some consequences, but not nearly as bad as like, oh, I deactivated my listing for 3 weeks. You know what I mean? Or I put my shop on vacation mode, or I completely changed the SEO on something that was a bestseller. Like, no, don't ever touch stuff that's working well, right? But ads are different, I think. You could. I always test it. I used to spend $40 a day on ads in the signs. Okay. Especially in the busy season, but that's because my average sign cost $40. So that was kind of where, so if I made one sale, I broke even, but I always would make more than one.
Yeah, I always get nervous, but I've been thinking about just in the summer, just to intentionally spend more and just
see what happens. Like decide what you're comfortable spending. Don't spend what money you don't have when you are already never
like gambling. It's like, well, here's $10. Best of luck, you know.
But if you think about it, like paying a listing fee is gambling then.
Yeah, it is true. Yeah.
We could get really, so just decide and keep it low, test it, just always start small. And I mean, Etsy won't let you raise it very much anyway. They keep the ratio low. Okay. I remember when I turned it on to $40, I'd have to, it'd take me like 3 weeks to be able to do that. I have to start with like $5 or whatever. Yeah. They make you ramp up because they want to make sure you'll pay the bill.
Interesting.
I think that part of the entrepreneurial spirit is embracing some level of calculated risk. Mm-hmm. And the reality of e-commerce is you have to test things. Like I can tell you all day long what's worked for me. I have, it's not going to work perfectly for everyone. That's why it's so great. There's so many different coaches and you can see every story you listen to is so different. Mm-hmm. You have to test things, and it just helps us to listen to someone who's done it before, because it'll get us at least one step closer to the right path for us.
Yeah.
So I would test it, decide. I mean, probably don't go beyond $5 a day unless you see great ROI, maybe in August.
Yeah. And I would always up it. Like if I was having a great sales day, I'd just like keep upping my ad spend during the day.
Yes.
Just because people, I don't know. Yeah.
I just think like people who are like, oh, I can't handle the risk. I'm like, then like, please have fun with Etsy, but you're probably not an entrepreneur. You have to embrace some level of risk. Oh, it's so interesting though. It's so fascinating, Nicole. Play with it. And like, I need emails. I need to hear how this goes.
Day after, yeah.
Because like, can you imagine if you did that, you like bump it up and you've got a $50 product because you're selling like a full shop access, and you start selling 20 of those a day.
That would be amazing.
And you've only spent $5 and you don't have to do any work. It's just automatic. I don't know. Yeah. I can freak out about it. Let's talk tips. What tips can you give the newbies about creating digital products? Like what would you want to share on that? Or Etsy, whatever, just tips, things that'll help folks.
Like I said, my first listings were trash. So like just expect that you will make mistakes and you'll probably delete those listings or just make new ones because they're not going to be great. But I don't think you can get good without practicing. Oh, one thing I got this from my friend, is on the actual digital PDF, the first page is a letter to them, like just kind of thanking them for purchasing it, and then a link to my shop if they get it PDF. And then the second page is, it has a coupon code. So if they decide to be a repeat customer, they get a bigger discount. And then I put 3 listings on there that would go along with what they bought.
So smart.
Which I get a lot of repeat customers, but I've had very few use that actual code. A couple, but I get more repeat buyers that don't use the code. So I don't know. But I think it helps them to see what else is available. So those are the repeat customer code. Oh, one thing for digital products, you have to put in a quantity, and it's not real. So putting in a lower quantity, just kind of, when they're searching, it'll say like, oh, there's only 5 left.
Right.
You have to put in a quantity. I mean, you could put in 1 million if you wanted, but just to have
999, I think, is the most we can do. Okay. That's what I usually. But no, that's smart, because then it shows the scarcity of, they're going to sell out of it.
And that's just like a mental thing, but also, and it helps me stay on top of my listings and know what's selling, as opposed to like, if I have 100 of them, then I'm not paying attention as much to what's selling. when they get low, then I have to increase it. Or if they're not selling, then work on the SEO on that item. I think those are the main things.
Those are good ones.
Yeah. And then just stalking other people and what sells. Oh, reading reviews. I got that tip from one of your guests. I just created a product. It's a fall product, so I haven't sold any yet, but I read reviews on other people's stuff and implemented what they were lacking into that listing. So I'm curious how that will do. Yeah.
There are obviously holes in the market, right?
Yeah.
It's so helpful, especially in digital products.
Yeah. So those are the main things, like give people coupon codes. Oh, also like it's digital products. So in the summer, I'll randomly do like a half off sale because it's like, I mean, any sales are like I've already done the work, so it doesn't matter that much.
If you guys haven't jumped onto the Everbee bandwagon yet, this is your sign to check it out ASAP. If you haven't heard of it before, Everbee is a free tool that can help you find trends, products, and niches that are hot sellers on Etsy right now. I personally use it in tandem with Sales Samurai because they do totally different things. And I literally don't think I could compete in the current Etsy marketplace today without it or help you guys as effectively. Everbee gives me so much information that I can't glean just from studying Etsy. All you need is a laptop or desktop. You can't do it on your phone, so you do need a laptop or whatever, a Google Chrome browser, a quick install of the Everbee extension. And for my tech challenge friends, I promise you it's super simple. And then you will gain access to a whole new world of data about your niche and competitors. So this is a tool I use every single day for my own Etsy shop research, for coaching calls that I do with you guys all the time, for shop reviews I do for you guys all the time. And just as I work on growing my personal mastery of Etsy, these tools have become so instrumental in getting the results that I do. And I mean, I can still use my old school tactics. I still use them, but I don't use them alone anymore because it's a whole different ball game. So these guys have just been a game changer for me. I use Everbee to learn everything about bestsellers and high performing listings. It shows me, okay, I'm going to give you a rundown. It shows me how many sales a shop makes from each listing. I can see how many they've sold of it, how much money that listing has made them or is earning them every month, how old the listing is, like how early did they get on that trend, what their tags are and how competitive those tags are. It gives me an at-a-glance view of all the shop data, which sometimes I can't otherwise find, and like the competitor listing data that I need to help my students and myself find ways to penetrate the market. So like I said before, Etsy has a totally free version, like not just a free trial. There is a free version so everyone can get access to it. Down in the show notes, I have a link to their site for you so you can check it out. And I also included a quick YouTube tutorial to show you exactly how I use it because sometimes like the barrier to entry is trying to figure out new technology. So I got you. Just go watch. It's a quick video. It'll show you how to navigate it. So if you don't have it yet, get Everbee. Jump on that today. I'm so excited for you to get this edge on the market. You're going to love it. It's a game changer. Okay, so like related to that, Nicole, what about like lessons learned about just like Etsy or entrepreneurship generally, since you popped into it after being an accountant? That's kind of, what have you learned about it?
I think one of them has been copyright stuff or like people's information or like even what I create, can people use that? Or like some of it seems very gray, but some is very black and white. So that's been interesting to just look into copyright law, things I don't understand. I've appreciated when you've had, I think she was a lawyer on talking about
Paige Hulse.
that. Yeah.
Yep. That was actually, we did a replay of that just a few weeks ago because it's such a good episode and like so many of us like cringe, but we need the refresher. She's coming back soon too. We're going to do like an FAQ. She's the best.
Yeah.
You guys, those of you, I'm going to have to say this on episodes they want to listen to, like yours, Nicole. Listen to the Paige Hulse episodes if you don't. They are so good. And they're not, I don't know, Nicole, do you think they're dry? You just listened to that one, didn't you?
No, I think they're excellent. Like it's important information that you wouldn't think about or even like search out. So yeah.
If I can stand listening to it, you can, because I stink at that. My head wants to go straight in the sand, but I like Paige so much that I force myself to do it. And it's actually always fun. You know what? Let me link that one. I'm going to link your book, That Everyone Should Be a Millionaire, which I don't think I've heard of that. I'll probably look it up and I'll recognize it.
Rachel, I forget what her last name is.
Okay. But Paige Hulse. I'm just going to link it. And if you have This is your sign from God, from the universe, from your gut that you need to pay attention to legal stuff. And you have to listen to some of it. Oh my gosh, too many texts coming through. I hate using my phone for my notes. Tell me, we already talked about, oh no, we didn't actually. Your stuff is seasonal, and so, which we've already mentioned, but you told me in your application that you've been trying to like figure out ways to fill the gaps in other parts of the year and create other things. How has that been going? Like, tell us about that process, and how are you figuring out how to supplement in the off season?
Yeah. So I have to like think a month ahead. So like Christmas time is usually pretty slow because people are thinking about Christmas and not schooling their kids. So I've created some like Advent Christmas related products. And those have been fun because they're a smaller ticket item, but I get a lot of them, which is just, it's always fun to hear cha-chings. So for like a week, it's just thrilling because my other stuff is like, I don't know, you'll get a cha-ching here and there, but like to have like multiple like regular and expect them is fun. So picking a holiday and then creating a listing specific to my niche has been what I've been doing.
Okay.
So Advent, St. Patrick's, Valentine's, Easter. I'd love to have something for May. I haven't come up with an idea like Mother's. I don't know. It's harder to, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, no, think about this. What if you did, I love the Mother's Day, create Mother's Day activities where they can make something for their mom. Like think about all the single moms out there.
Yeah.
And they could like give it to their kids to, or even dads, you know what I mean? Or anybody to give it to their kids to make their mom something for Mother's Day.
That would be fun.
Do you know what I mean? Like I talked to a good friend of mine recently and I don't understand this. I have like a really sweet husband. And he's made plenty of mistakes, but like she said that her husband didn't do anything for Mother's Day at all. Do you know? Like,
yeah,
at all. And she just had her baby's not even a year old. Like, step up. But I'm just thinking, like, even if the mom can print it out and have their kid do something thoughtful for them. Yeah. Okay, sorry, I got on a soapbox there. No, the other thing is road trip stuff. I will tell you as someone, because we take our RV every year and we're on the road for days and days and days. And I'm just like scraping for what to have my kid to do. If it was related to our homeschool curriculum, and I thought it was also going to be like engaging for them, but also educational. So I don't feel like the terrible mom letting her kid watch too much on the screen because I don't have enough activities. So I think that's another thing you could do.
To make it more educational than just
spring break, road trip, but have a mix of it because, kids love the like make some fun things that they love, but throw in some, I don't know.
Yeah, that's what my kids are working on they want to create a shop. So they're working on some road trip activities.
Okay, I thought it was going to be like lists and stuff when you mentioned that before we started recording. I didn't realize that's amazing. What if you should like co-author it with them so you can put it in your...
I know. I've tried to convince them. They want to do...
Oh, they don't want to. I get it. My daughter's like that too. And then she's like, I want to sell this. I'm like, no one's going to buy that. I love you so much, but I am the Etsy coach. I have to tell you the truth. If I don't, it's unethical.
Yes. And if it was in my shop, I feel like one of the tips or one thing I've learned about Etsy is like, you have to like feed the beast to like keep it going,
yes, adding listings makes a big difference. One of my mock-up shops, it's like stopped getting nearly as many sales because during the move, I haven't had a chance to work on listings.
Yeah.
And I've noticed a huge difference. And it's in a niche where right now it should be busy.
Okay. It is very interesting to notice those things because you don't want to be like, I have to make something today or I'm not going to have sales. But at the same time,
no, not every day, but
yes. So yeah, when we bought the lake house for a rental and I took off like 3 months and it still had sales, but it was a noticeable like, oh, these are down compared to last year.
Oh my gosh. If you ever wanted to have a VA for this or you had the time, do you have your things on Pinterest at all? I feel like you need to go hard on Pinterest.
So I have one random pin that I created like at the beginning and it consistently has views. Actually, what is it called? Share and save. I've switched all the links to that. So now I can tell when it's coming from that. And so I had 2 last month. I was like, oh, maybe I should invest some time in pins.
I feel like recipes and homeschool stuff is like half of Pinterest. I mean, and I'm exaggerating, but
that's where the people are at. or at least my
Yes,
people.
for yours. I mean, oh my gosh, the way you could put a little time in and see it. But Sharon said what she's talking about is there's a place within Etsy where in your dashboard where you can sign up for Share and Save, which basically means that if you promote your own listings, you can save on the transaction fee. I've talked about it before, but we have a lot of new folks coming to the platform. So that's something to look into, because if you're going to promote your own stuff on Instagram or on Pinterest or anywhere, use the Share and Save link so that you can save money on the transaction percentage.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay, wrapping up. I would love to know, do you think in the homeschool educator digital product niche, is there still a lot of demand there? Like, is it growing? Would it be a smart place for someone to maybe go find a little micro niche like you have to serve, or is it super saturated? What is your opinion about that?
I think there is a huge opportunity for people. I think the statistics nationwide, or before COVID, it was like 2.5 million kids were homeschooled, and now it's over 4 million. And I don't foresee those numbers like going back to the original. So
we're not going back. Nope.
Yeah, just the number of people that are homeschooling now, there's a huge need. So many people want to homeschool, but then get overwhelmed. So if someone has created something in a nice packaged way that's inexpensive because it's digital, it just is like a win-win for everyone. So I think there's a huge need for it and opportunity.
I agree with you. And there's different people want to approach it different ways, right? They want choices. They don't all want your type of curriculum or someone else's type of curriculum. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many different, I mean, you could even just go buy a bunch of of the newer homeschool books and pay attention to the different approaches they're taking. You know, you've got, what is like the different, you could think of the different parenting styles. Like, people who want to be, I don't know, give me one. What
is it? Unschooling. There's Montessori. There's classical converts. There's like
careful with you don't want to use the names though. You don't want to get into Nicole knows that. I'm telling you guys, don't use those in your tags.
Yes.
But the tenets of it is the guiding philosophy.
Yeah. And the beauty of homeschooling is everyone gets to do their own thing. So most people don't want just a step-by-step. They don't want a school curriculum because they got out of that for a reason. So having the smaller items to do like unit studies or just see what works for their children, because everyone's so different. It's it's like the Britney Lewis approach for print on demand, where you learn how to understand your niche and your customer better than they understand themselves by studying, by immersing yourself in what they do, what they read, what they watch, all of it. And you become an expert on it. And here's the thing, like, all we have to do, you guys, is fill needs and holes. I was just talking to my husband, so I had to get a prescription refilled. And we just had our insurance change. And I was just like, oh, but when I called them, they're like, oh, actually, our systems now, you don't have to give us your new insurance. If you have active insurance, it automatically pops up for us. And I was like, well, that was a freaking smart AI thing, because talk about something that's like a barrier to entry. It's annoying for me. It's annoying for them. How many times, do they not get paid because it's not done properly? So we need to, in our own places, in our own niches, like find opportunities, find things like that. Homeschooling is brilliant for that, right? Because I'm over here, I'm sticking with online school for now because I don't want to handle all of the grading curriculum and all that. Anytime you could take something off a homeschool mom's plate or dad's plate, like huge. But you could even go like untraditional, like raising empathetic children is a big trend right now, right? Like even like journals for kids to like work through emotion. I might have And I think taking the time to create the product that doesn't exist. It's easy to look at things that exist and be like, oh, I could do that too, but there's already 10 of them. So like finding that thing that no one's done yet. And I know you don't want to like create something that people aren't searching for, but if it's something that, like, one thing, I'm not going to say what book it is, but there's a book that even public schoolers use that our homeschool uses, and there was no resource for it as far as like activities to do with it. And so my listing is always, even on Google, it's top, and it consistently sells all year. So like that took a long time to create, but it's an evergreen item because it's the only one out there. So finding those things that don't exist is very, I think.
What are you selling it for? Because I bet you need to raise that price.
I think I have it for $12.
Okay.
It's a higher, for my shop, but yeah.
That's not bad, but you could probably even increase it because you're filling such a need there. But here's the thing. This is another Brittany Lewis, Be a Wolf Biz. I know it's print on demand, but it's relevant. It's trend combining. So you go and you find the thing that there's 12 of and they're all bestsellers because everyone wants it. And you use that as a base, but then you put a spin on it. So in t-shirts, it was everyone wanted a neutral comfort colors t-shirt. That was the trend. And like strawberries were a trend. So you do that and so you've got two trends there. You've got the comfort colors neutral shirt, you've got the strawberries, and then the trend that came up was skeletons. So then you have a skeleton eating the strawberry. And now you've got three trends. No one else is doing it. Yeah. You're still going to come up in the search results because it's in demand, but you've trend combined. And then it's a win. This is why her people make hundreds of thousands of dollars. It is a winning combination every time. And we can do it in digital products as well.
Yes.
Nicole, this has been the funniest. This has been the funniest interview. I hope you had fun.
I had fun. I feel like I have more ideas now, so slightly problematic, but in a good way. No, that's okay.
You're exactly what you wanted to avoid. No, but we went so like team effort on all of that.
I would rather have like 100 things I want to do than like crickets trying to figure out what to create. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you because I'm kind of in like a rut right now. I kind of feel like I'm just so tired. I kind of feel like a lack of creativity. I much prefer having the buzz of all, like with the dopamine of all.
Yes, when you are so excited about so many things. Yes.
Yeah, right now I'm excited about sleep and it's not going to happen for 3 years. Okay, how do we find you and connect? Obviously, we're protecting your shop and your all of that because we live in 2024 and Etsy is savage. How can we find you? I think you gave me an email address, right?
Yeah, the email is fine to put out there if anyone had questions. But I'm not really on social media or there's not really many places to connect. So
nope,
email is great.
That's completely awesome. And I will put that in the show notes along with the other things that we mentioned. Thank you so much for being willing to share and give back. Like there's like not a whole lot in it for you, right? Because it's just to be a good human. So thank you.
Yeah, no, the knowledge talking to you, I mean, already I've learned a couple things that I hope to implement. So I really appreciate it.
No, the pleasure is mine. It kind of turned into like a story / mini coaching a little in there as well, which is unusual and fun.
Yes. Cool.
Okay. Well, you'll have to keep in touch with us. And you guys, thank you for hanging out with Nicole and myself. I will see you next week. Same time, same place. I love y'all. And in the meantime, go make something awesome. I hope you're having a good summer. Bye, guys. And that's a wrap on this episode of How to Sell Your Stuff on Etsy. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. If you're looking for more resources, head on over to howtosellyourstuff.com where you'll find podcast show notes, all the links from today's episode, the blog, courses, coaching, and more. If this episode was helpful to you, awesome. The greatest compliment I can receive from you is a rate, review, and subscribe on this podcast. Not only will it allow us to connect again on a future episode, it lets me know I'm providing you with value and helps other people find this content more easily. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for your support. Have a great day and see you next time.